I volunteer for the Scouts and often find myself straightening large numbers of tent pegs, often by clamping in the machinist's vise and just pulling them straight as best as you can, and sometimes just with the clamping force of the jaws itself. Doesn't always work with steel, but your mileage may vary. And for the aluminium ones, often the best answer is just to dead blow mallet and sort of cold forge them on an anvil of some sort. Finally, for the very tight bends, or for putting that gooseneck back into the hook at the end, you can put a couple of screws in the vise and bend the hook around them. Of course, they say prevention is better than cure, and so making sure you push the peg in with your hand or a mallet, definitely not your foot, perpendicular to the guy line all the way up to the hook is really the best way to avoid the bending in the first place. If you set your tensioner with enough room, you can take up any slack later on without moving that peg. Pegs pointing straight up won't stay in the ground very long at all. A little bit of a breeze will pull them out. And even if you have them at an angle, it doesn't really make any difference. There's too much leverage and they'll get pulled straight out. If the soft ground isn't deep enough, then you might get away with moving the guy line closer to the ground. But actually, you might be surprised to find that you can have tent pegs at a really shallow angle and they'll work just fine. So if you're pushing the peg in and you hit a rock or some solid ground, move it to a much more shallow angle, push it all the way in like you would normally, and that'll be set just fine, and that'll hold up in almost all situations that you might find yourself in. Just a quick note on those tensioners. If you find that one's been pulled all the way to the end, like this one, it's actually the loop nearest the knot at the end that you want to pull through. That's what's going to go around your hook, and that's the thing that's going to give you the adjustability that you're going to need to take up any slack in your tent without having to move your peg. Hope that helps.